So what got you into house music to begin with? And when did you get into it? And when did you start DJing and producing?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a long journey into, getting into house music, especially like my genre right now, my kind of niche. I think me and a lot of other producers can say like we all started in that world where it was like all EDM stuff, like your Nicky Romero's, your Avicii's, Swedish House Mafia, all those kind of guys. So I kind of started the same way. I just listened to a lot of that type of music, and that was probably in like early middle school or something like that. And then slowly as I transitioned into like high school and stuff like that, I started finding more like deeper house. So people like Chami and stuff like that. And I think it was kind of a natural progression to go from like a deeper house to more techie grooves, more groovy bass lines, minimal stuff. And when I started entering college, I like really got into that like minimal scene. And a couple of years later, I found the even more niche group of people that make like Latin tech house and stuff like that. So that was kind of what my journey looked like in defining like my sound, I guess. I started producing though when I was like, I want to say 16, maybe something like that, which was just kind of messing around on GarageBand, I guess. And that's how everyone starts, just putting loops together.
So what did that sound like the first time you made a track? It was like more EDM.
It was like a weird eclectic combination of EDM, sometimes like hip hop. I even dabbled in like future bass, like dubstep at times. But yeah, it just kind of started from there, and then eventually got into like downloading Fruity Loops, which is a software that I use like all the time now, and just stuck with making house music for a few years, and started getting a little bit better and better, each year. And yeah, that's how it kind of came about. The DJing part came later. That was like when I started college. I figured like, hey, I'm making house music. Everyone who makes house music also DJs, so like why not try it out? And I fell in love with it right away. I just love playing parties, and just like random like things that my friends would throw. I would just grab my decks and just be the guy playing on the aux for a little bit. But yeah, that's how it kind of that's how my progression went.
Amazing. Well, okay, side question, like what was the scene kind of like at your college when you first started doing it? Like how neat was it to get to find people who like minimal and Latin tech house?
It's honestly pretty tough. I mean, Pittsburgh isn't super big into the whole house music scene in general. We're still a little bit behind in that sense. But it was like a big struggle to just get people to even like listen like to the DJ sets and stuff. Because I would come on and immediately someone would be like, oh, play something with words in it, or like, why does this beat sound the same over and over again? I'm like, chill and just listen. It's fun, like but yeah, I think Charles, the parties with Long Turn here in Pittsburgh, like that's where I kind of got my big like introduction into the underground like house music scene. Because we throw parties here like that bring in some super cool minimal artists, and I just went to those like every weekend, and I was like, wow, this is really sick. Like, like I'm getting more and more inspired to like pursue this sound just from hearing these guys play to like 50 people. It was just incredible. So yeah, that's how I kind of found that.
Yeah, this is a great sound system there too.
Oh yeah, yeah. For a small club, it's amazing.
Awesome. All right. Same question to you, Santi. Going back to how did you get into house music or electronic music, and when did you start DJing and producing?
Yeah, I feel like MAYO kind of spoke for a lot of people. That's kind of just like the route that everyone takes. Well, not everyone, but for a good amount of people. Mine was pretty similar. I started listening to like EDM. I have like a vivid memory of listening to Bloom's remix of like You and Me by Disclosure. And that track was like my first kind of like, whoa, like this is like dope stuff. Cause before that I was just listening to like pop and stuff and just like stuff on the radio. So that was like very different for me. And that kind of like, you know, brought me closer to like electronic music. And yeah, so then as far as like house music goes, my sister kind of was a big influence with that. She listened to a lot of like deep house type stuff, like MAYO had mentioned, like Chami, like back in the day. So I definitely, you know, drew inspiration from that. And I mean, this was, man, probably like, I don't even know, like 10 years ago. And ever since then, yeah, I mean, it's kind of been like a natural progression to get to where I'm at now as far as like what I listen to and what I make. Latin tech house has been like super big, like out here in LA, and just I feel like in a lot of places around the world. And it kind of like hits home too, like being Hispanic. I don't know, it kind of reminds me of listening to like a salsa track with like all that percussion and stuff like that. Like it just feels right. So yeah, that kind of just like came naturally. But I would say about like 10 years ago is when I kind of like got into EDM. Then, you know, started kind of finding my way into like house music. I actually was big on future bass as well. I think that was kind of like around that time that I heard that remix by Flume. And then I was listening to like Millennium and like all that sad boy stuff. But now, yeah, I kind of made my way into like the house music scene, and I don't see myself turning back from that for a good while or ever, honestly. I love it. As far as producing and when I started making music, this was about, I'd say like 7 years ago, like 2018. Started making music because I don't really know. Like I played soccer my whole life, and that's kind of what I envisioned myself doing for the rest of my life. But I got like injured pretty bad, so I kind of just asked myself, like, is there something else out there that you enjoy, that you like, you know, can see yourself doing? Music was like the next best thing, but I never took any music classes or like knew how to play an instrument, so it just seemed very far-fetched for me. And then I was like, fuck it, like I'm just gonna try this out. I downloaded FL Studio. That was the first DAW that I picked up. I was on YouTube University, just, you know, like looking up how to make music, literally. Just and yeah, got the information, started, you know, I fell in love with it. And fast forward 7 years later, now I'm where I'm at now, and there's no turning back.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely resonate with both of those stories, just a little bit further back in time. But all right, starting with Santi, what's the best? Is it Santi or Santi? Santi, right?
Santi, yeah, Santi.
Starting with Santi, best show you've ever played so far?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, I mean, the answer could go both ways. Like, there's, you know, like the best club, or like I played Day Trip Festival last year, and that was an experience in itself. Like I had a blast, you know, being with like all my producer homies, and my best friend, he's a photographer. I got to bring him with me, and he shot for me and stuff. So that was like, I would say the best. But then there's also like these super like low key, like niche sets that I've played. I played this like desert festival, maybe like 70 people. This was out in like Joshua Tree, back like maybe 3 years ago. And that also was just like in its own way, kind of like my favorite thing I've played too, because it's just, I guess they're my favorites for like different reasons. So I don't know. I try to just like enjoy every single one kind of equally, and yeah. But I would say, yeah, Day Trip Festival was dope. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's neck and neck, but ultimately the bigger crowd wins out.
Exactly. Yeah.
How about you, Amaya?
I haven't played as many big shows as Santi has, so that's like, you know, a big bucket list of mine is to play like those festivals like Day Trip and stuff. But from what I have done, the one that came right off the top of my head would be my opening set for Bruno Furlan. I want to say a few weeks ago, here at Cobra. It's a great spot, like super sick sound system. The vibes are always amazing. It's like a very niche spot in Pittsburgh, and that's kind of what I love the most about it, because the crowd that comes through is always like it's like a very good mix of people who don't know what the hell is happening and are like super passionate about like anything that is dance music. So yeah, that set was incredible. I played direct support, so the crowd was already like kind of warmed up by then. And they were like giving me a lot of energy, and I was like, cool, I can like turn it up a little bit, we can get it going. And then, you know, Bruno comes in and he just like knocks it out the park. The crowd was, I've never seen them that energetic in a long time. And, you know, we were a little bit concerned about like how it would perform in Pittsburgh, because it's not a huge name out here. So yeah, he completely smashed our expectations, and it was super cool to like meet him too. Like he's a great guy. Like, you know, that intimate like space is just like one of the best things that I've ever done. So yeah.
That's awesome. So it was basically sold out or close.
Yeah, it was like really, really close to selling out. We were just a few tickets shy of, you know, just closing down the entire like sale altogether. There were some people that came in at the door and everything that was like, yeah, it was nuts.
So Amaya, starting with you, most exciting track support. I know you've got a lot of them.
Yeah, well, the most exciting would have to be Clooney by far. I mean, he's been and still is one of my biggest inspirations in house music. And just like seeing him play the track for months, like that I sent him, like it was like it's like a dream come true for me. Because I remember like telling my roommate literally like what, a year ago now probably, that hey, wouldn't it be so sick if you know, Clooney dropped my track at like Space or something like that. Like we were literally watching his Space set, and we were like, oh, it would be so sick if my track got played there. And fast forward a year later, it got played at Space, and I was like, this is absolutely nuts. Like I don't even know how to react right now. But yeah, that's got to be one of my top moments of like my producing career so far.
I think you manifested it.
Yeah, I guess so.
And how did he get a hold of your track?
I just sent it to him like on his demo email. I just kind of, yeah, I sent him a bunch of tracks. He downloaded one of them, and he ended up playing it out. And I was like, I didn't even think you were gonna open my email, but like, let alone download it, which is, you know.
Awesome. How about you, Santi?
As far as support goes, I feel like Joshua, he's a pretty big name. He's supported a couple of my tracks. Who else? Tom and Collins played out a couple of my tracks. No one as big as Clooney. I'm working on that still. but I know it'll happen. But yeah, I'd say like Joshua.
So yeah, that's legit. Like that.
Yeah. He's killing it right now too. He's always booked and busy. So I'm trying to think of like other people. Sage Armstrong, I think, played one of my songs one time. Yeah,
well, that's cool.
Pretty big names, yeah.
Very nice. Can you tell me a little bit about the process of collabing on Groovy Lil Thing?
Yeah. Do you want to answer that one, or you want to?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'll start it off. It kind of started like how every session of ours goes. We just opened up the DAW, and Santi was like, what do you want to make? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm just throwing some like drum samples. We'll figure it out as we go.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was, from what I remember, it was a while ago now, but from what I remember, it was like we were going through like different versions like every single session basically, and we couldn't find one that like stuck and that we were like super happy with. But We found some like loops on like Splice and stuff that were like
I think
some
it was
organs.
the bass line.
Yeah, the bass line was first,
Bass
right?
line was first, yeah.
Yeah, we found that bass line on Splice, and he dragged it in, and I was like, "Yo, this is fire. Let's keep running with this idea. I like it.
Mhm.
Like it's sick." So then I think it all just kind of naturally came in from there. It was like we found the vibe that we wanted to go for, and we just kept going for it. So
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the times when me and MAYO work together, there is no like plan. Like we kind of just, and that's why like I like working with him so much too, is because obviously we make our Latin tech house, and we always say like if we wanted to make a banger Latin tech house track, we could easily do it, but let's like experiment and just like try some new things. And that's where like Groovy Little Thing kind of like came to life, was us dragging in a bass line that I would usually never use in one of my tracks, and it was just super funky. It had a good groove, and we're like, no, yeah, let's ride this and see where we can like take it. And we started like incorporating like some drums, and then we found like that like the organ like keys and stuff, and dragged in the vocal. And before we knew it, we were like, yo, this is actually fucking sick. Like this is super dope. And that's how it goes with us like all the time. Like there is no plan. We're just like, let's just see what the vibes are, kind of experiment, and then for the most part something like Groovy Little Thing comes out, and then yeah, we just roll with it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it takes a bit of vision and a bit of courage sometimes to go in that direction that's outside of your normal wheelhouse. So yeah, hats off to you, because it's really unique track, and the way the bass line and the organ goes together is absolutely perfect. It just was like serendipity, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Santi, what's on the horizon for you in general?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say like I have this and this and this and this and this like ready to go planned, especially in the music industry. Like anything can happen at any time. But I like to think that things are going in the right direction. This year I'm really excited, trying to get more music out, and I've gotten kind of like verbally confirmed festivals and shows that I'll be playing this year. So hopefully those fall through. I do have, I'm going to be playing Space Yacht, which is like a pretty big like event throwing company out here well, they're actually in Seattle. I think they're in Arizona, but yeah, they're awesome. I actually released a song on their label like 2 weeks ago, or like 3 weeks ago. So I'll be playing one of their shows coming up in April. And then honestly, just getting ready for summer. I think like the music that I make and that I like to like play just kind of hits during summer. So I want to try to put my name in a bunch of different hats, and hopefully, yeah, just try to continue to. I think the live shows are like the main thing I want to focus on right now, is getting booked for live shows and making music simultaneously, but just kind of like getting my name out there as far as like, yo, this guy throws down. This guy can put on a good set,
Got it. Yeah, you want to get that reputation out there as a DJ. More right now.
Yeah.
All right, Amaya.
So actually, I have a track coming out this week on Friday with a label called Intentions. It's like a small label out of Las Vegas, I believe, and they've been having some pretty sick releases. So when they asked if I wanted to release with them, I was like, yeah, of course, but yeah, that's coming up relatively soon. Other than that, same thing. It's kind of like just seeing what happens. I'm constantly like making music and sending it out to labels and getting rejected a lot of the time. But it's like my thinking right now is if I send out as much stuff as I possibly can, one of them is going to stick, and one of them is going to be, in the Beatport charts or something like that, and it's going to, completely change. So that's kind of like my motivation going forward. It's just keep making stuff, keep getting my name out there. And then same thing, kind of just trying to get more live shows, but I'm not super focused on that right now. I still want to build up my brand as an artist first, and then kind of transition into being a DJ later on. But yeah, just I'm talking with a few guys out in LA and trying to get some shows out there, because I think the crowd out there is like pretty cool and super receptive to the type of music that I play. So would love to play out there one day, and working on it.
We'll make it happen, bro. We'll make it happen.
I'm sure it's coming sooner than you think. A Maya dream gig or dream venue to play?
Oh, space, 100%. I like, without a question. Like it's one of those places where I feel like it's so versatile as a venue. Even though rumors have said that the sound system isn't the best in the world, in terms of like the artists they bring in and like the crowd that comes through, I mean, they're all lunatics. Like they're just staying there for like 24 hours in a day, and that's the exact kind of like crowd I want to play for. It's like they're ready to hear whatever like you play, and you know, they're super open-minded in that sense. And I feel like especially like a 10-hour set or something like that would be like one of my dream gigs. Just play for however long and just explore a bunch of different genres, go super weird with it, and you know, yeah. So
Yep, I would have to agree, at least for like in this country. Santi?
There's a good amount of like spots. Like I want to play like Destino in Ibiza. I feel like that'd be super cool, like a daytime type of thing. But I feel like I have to say this because it has been my dream, like ever since I got into like electronic music, or honestly just music in general. Is Coachella. That's my dream, just to be able to play Coachella, whether it be like the Do Lab or like even like Yuma, I don't know, like, or Sahara. But it just, I've seen like the like Fisher playing Sahara, or I think Clooney played Sahara too. Like, I don't know. Coachella just has like a special place like in my heart. It was the first music festival I ever went to when I was like, I think like 17, I think. Like, just didn't know what I was doing, didn't know what I was getting myself into. I went with my best friend and his sister, and yeah, we were just like, what is this? Like, this is insane. And it was my first taste of like live music, and the fact that it's like multi-genre, you know, so people who are going to your set, like, you know, like they're there for your set, because they could be anywhere else in that, you know, on those polo grounds, but they're there to see you. So it's like, yeah, that's probably my dream is Coachella for sure.
Yeah, I also definitely feel that, because Coachella was like my introduction to electronic music as well. I went 6 years in a row,
Yeah.
and then yeah, that's like where I got into it, and then I started going to like purely electronic festivals from there. Santi, dream back to back.
Oh, that's a good one. Damn. I feel like so many come to mind. I'm trying to like narrow it down to one.
And they're all gonna watch this and be offended if I don't say that.
Yeah. The pressure's on. The pressure's on. Well, so I will start by saying my homie's Friendly Fire that I released a track with on South of Saturn. It's called Tiki. It's a good one. I would love to go back to back with them, because they are so, like, I see them play and they are so much fun. And like we're not just like, they're not just like people that I've, you know, looked at and I like dream of like meeting them. Like, I've actually worked with them, and like they're cool people, and like, you know, like friends. So I feel like they'd be really cool to go back to back with, because I mean, I feel like we just have a good ass time. As far as like I mean, I just don't want to say like Clooney because like I feel like obviously I'd love to go back to back with Clooney, but like
basic of an answer.
yeah, exactly. Not that not that he's basic. I don't want to offend but
No,
yeah,
you make
like
a good point with back-to-backs with friends are actually way more fun because you're just totally letting loose and you're relaxed.
yeah, and I feel like I would like going back to back with like MAYO too. Like that'd be super cool because I know we have like similar like music taste and we could just like rip it. But this man's in Pittsburgh, so it's kind of hard to make that happen. But
we would throw down for sure, man.
Yeah,
For
no,
sure.
it'd be so much fun. Like people that I've worked with, I think like, being able to go back to back with them or it just makes it that much better because then you can play your own tracks too and like the tracks that you've made together. And it just, I don't know, I think it kind of hits different.
Amaya.
I've had some time to think about this, so I'm trying to come up with a good answer. The one that comes to mind right away would be, it's like a tie between two DJs. The Martinez brothers, I guess it's a duo, or like Paco Osuna. Like those two, whenever I watch their sets, it's like such a wide range of music is being played, especially if they have like one of those longer sets in Ibiza. Like they can tap into so many different genres, and I feel like if I'm just standing there like right next to them, I'd just be like never bored. Like for 1 second, I'd be like, throw on a jungle track or something. I'd be like, damn, how the hell did you mix that in with like a minimal tech house or something? I'm like, something like that just to keep you on your toes. Like those would be my dreams for sure. Like one of those big guys like that.
Yeah, they're both of them. I don't think I've ever heard them like do anything less than perfect in terms of like
Yeah.
and just technical skills. And I've seen them both like way more times than I could count. All right. Sync button. Is it a sign of weakness or a sign of wisdom? That's who's going first. Amaya.
Oof, that's a controversial question.
That's tough. That's
a controversial question. You know what? I'll say a sign of wisdom, just because there's a guy by the name of James Hype who exists in the world, and he has been absolutely killing it with, doing all these like tricks and insane stuff on like CDJs, and I don't think 90% of that would be possible without the sync button. So, you know what? If you can use it and use it well, go for it. But if you're just doing basic beat matching, just learn to beat match with your ears. It's not really that difficult.
Fair.
Yeah, I would agree. I think wisdom, if done like tastefully and like properly, you don't need the sync button if you're just mixing some house music. Just put your headphones on, match it up, and then mix into it. But yeah, I think like Amaya said, like when people are doing all these crazy tricks, or when you have like 4 tracks going at once and they're like doing a whole bunch of like, okay, yeah, that's kind of hard to do just like off ears. So sync definitely comes into play there, but a lot of the time, at least in my case, I'm just kind of going from one track to another, and yeah, that don't use sync. No.
Can you think of a time that you got mixed signals about something, and how did you react or respond to it? How did you overcome it?
In the music scene, especially, you get a lot of fake hate and fake interactions. Especially like these people like on Twitter or something that just like, kind of just rant about DJs just for clout, for no other reason than to just rant and just like, spread their name and get popular. And it's just like that, I think really like pisses me off, because it's like you don't see the hard work that goes in behind the scenes with a lot of these big DJs. Like, I don't care who you are, you still have to put in like some amount of work to get to where you're at. And just like, seeing someone just be like, oh dude, your set is like all pre-recorded, it sucks, it's like, this DJ literally mixes the same thing over and over again, you're literally trash. Like those type of things, it's like, dude, I know you wouldn't say that if you saw them in person. Like you just wouldn't. You would probably go up to them and be like, hey, I'm a big fan. Like it's like, just don't do that. Like just be real. If you don't like their music, just don't interact with it. Simple as that. Don't send your mixed signals to like, it's like try to get some sort of fame or clout just for your pleasure. It's like, come on, be real, man.
The mixed signals is they're hating on them, but they're actually giving them tons of attention by like.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're secretly in love with them all the time. Like, if you're giving someone that much attention, you have to love them.
Totally.
Positive feedback is also getting very like saturated right now too. Like I could send a shit song to like a whole bunch of people and they'll be like fire, and I'm like, no, this is that, like, no dude, like that's not, like be constructive with me, like. And I think that's like getting to a lot of people as well nowadays, like people who are like barely starting out or something, like not to like shit on anyone, but like you can tell when the producer's barely starting out, and then they'll send their stuff to like their friends and they're like, this is crazy. And I get it, like support is very important, but it's like I don't know, I think there needs to just be like a middle ground of like this is sick, but yada yada yada. Like, when people ask me for feedback, and like that's why I appreciate Abaya too. Like every time I send him tracks, it's not just like dope. Like he's like, this is cool, but the bass line could use some EQing here, or like maybe you can like saturate your hi-hat a little bit, like it's kind of like getting lost in the mix. Like that's what I want to hear, like, and like as a producer, you should be able to take that and not get like upset, like and like actually appreciate people kind of giving you that feedback. Like I feel like, yeah,
people are just being lazy or fake if they aren't giving their real opinion. They can sugarcoat it a little bit so that they're not being rude, but yeah.
I learned this thing because I went to Icon Collective. It's like a production school out here in LA, and one of my teachers, he was like, when anyone's like asking for feedback, it's just a compliment sandwich. Like you compliment, you give them like the actual like real information that you want to give them, and then another compliment, and then they'll be like, when they read that whole thing, they won't be mad if you're like, dude, this does not work, just be like, this is sick, but maybe fix this stuff, or you should definitely fix this stuff, but it is dope, like. And then they'll
really? That's really good advice.
Yeah, just compliment sandwich.
All right, that's my whole list. I think that was the length of time too, so
all right, well, thank you, man, appreciate you.
Yeah, you too. Talk to you guys later.
All right,
man.
Peace. See ya.